All right, everyone. So in this section, we're going to talk about something called a socket. Okay. And what a socket allows you to do, we've done an XR grab, right? And that basically allows you to take something and move it around your virtual reality scene. What an XR socket allows you to do is take an object and place it in it sort of snaps into a particular spot on an object. So I want you to think about kind of like, uh, you know, like an electrical plug. That's kind of where the idea comes from, where it's like, you have the plug and then the plug, you know, meets up with the socket, right? So it's like you, this meets up and it fits right into that area. That's kind of the idea of this. Okay. So here, this is exercise 9. And what I have here is we have a little scene, and I already have a XR rig that allows you to, it has two ray interactors and allows you to, pick stuff up and that sort of thing. And I have an object here, so a little tiki model, and it's already, it has a grab interactable, so we could pick it up. Okay. What I want to do is uh, we want to set it up so if we place it onto this pedestal, it kind of like snaps to that pedestal, so it locks in place. All right. And so we're going to use an XR socket for that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is two things. We need the object that we're placing and the thing that it's attaching to. And to make this a little bit easier, what we're going to do is we are going to add a attach point or this is like an additional little object that's a child of this. So I'm going to call this tiki attach point. And the idea of this is, if, let's just say for the sake of argument, a lot of times when you have models, the center point of the model is in the center of the model. But in this case, I want the model to be based from the bottom here. So I would take this attach point and just kind of move it to the bottom of the model. Because that's kind of where, this is kind of like if you remember when we did the thing with like the sword, where it's sort of attached to a certain point. This is kind of the same idea. So I kind of want this to be, oops. So I want this to be sort of at the base of the tiki. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing to this pedestal. Let's add a child. And I'm going to call this a pedestal attach point. And same thing here. It's like normally the center of this object is this, it would snap to this part, but I actually kind of want it to snap to the top of this pedestal. So I'm going to place that attach point, place it right about there. See how it's like kind of at the top here. And what I'm going to do is with the tiki, let's set the point that it uses to snap as that attach point, and we can do that by going under attach transfer. Remember how we did this before? And I'm going to just drop that in there. Remember, if you can set it, I'm going to keep it as far, but you could do whichever one you want. If you pull it close to you, you're just going to have to walk closer to get this to work. And for the pedestal, what we're going to do is I'm going to add an XR socket interactor. And just like everything else, let's just set this to everything. Now, the major point is where it says attach transfer. What I'm going to do is put in that attach point. So in other words, this attach point and this attach point are going to like meet up with each other. Okay. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention this model actually came from Blender. And so because of the way they meet up, you'll notice that if you just leave this the way it is, when you pick it up, it kind of goes on its side. We're going to fix that. So normally, see how this is 90? We need to get it to stand straight up. We're going to add to the attach point. We're going to set that to -90. And that should counteract that. And so it goes back to being straight up. It has to do with switching from Blender to Unity's axis points, because in Unity, the y-axis is up, and in Blender, it's the z-axis, and it causes some issues there. Okay. that should be it. So, what will happen now is when, we save and we try this out and I pick up the little tiki thing and I put it on the pedestal, it should snap right to right to this part. Okay. And that just makes it easier to like place items in particular spots. So like, if this was like a game and you wanted to make sure that an object went into a particular spot, that kind of thing, we could easily do that. All right, so let's save and let's try that out and it should work. Okay.
All right, everyone. So here is, this is exercise 9. I'm going to grab the model, and you can see I've grabbed it. And so notice how it's also picking it up from the bottom. Now, normally if I just let it go, it kind of just falls wherever I put it. But I'm going to specifically, even if I put it like, say, over here, see how it kind of jumps there? It jumps to that middle part. So that's what I mean by a socket. It kind of like, it snaps to that area. Okay. So that is, utilizing the socket, XR socket component.
All right, all. So here's another example of working with sockets. So here in exercise 10, once again, I already have sort of an XR rig that has it has ray interactors as part of it. And what I'm going to do is we're going to set it up that if we put the key here onto the pedestal, it's actually going to unlock or remove this door, essentially. Okay. So this door is a model. And what I'm going to do is let's take, just like we did in the last one, I'm going to add a child and let's make this, I'm going to call this key attach point. And what I'm going to do is put that kind of, I want the attach point kind of at the bottom, right about there. Okay. And we're going to do the same for the pedestal. So let's make an attach point, pedestal attach point. And I'm going to place that kind of up here. All right. And I'm going to grab the key, and this already has an XR grabbable for you. And let's add that as the attach point. I'll set this to far for now. And actually, what's going to happen is like with the Tiki, it's going to kind of rotate the key. So I'm actually going to rotate this key about 90 degrees on the attach point so that when you pick it up, it still stays kind of vertical. And let's add an XR socket. And under attach transform, let's add in that. Okay. Now, what we want to do is we want this to cause an action. Okay. The action is going to be that if we put this on top of the pedestal, that's going to be a select. Okay. And what we're going to do is say, okay, when this gets in this, let's turn this door off. Okay. As an object. So I'm going to take the door, place it in there. And then we're going to go under game object, set active, and set it to false. And so otherwise, what that really means is it's going to turn this off like that. Okay. So in other words, by us adding the key to the pedestal, we're basically removing the door, and that is, kind of like opening the door. So you kind of see how you could use this in like a game kind of environment where you add an object and something turns on, or turns off, or, remember when we were turning on lights in the previous module, or, it could be something like this. Like you put a key, you put something in the light switch and the lights turns on or something like that. So you can kind of see how we could do something like this. Okay. So I'm going to save and let's test this out.
All right, so here we are, exercise 10. You can see the wall. Just to show you, I can't normally walk through this wall. See how it's stopping me. I'm going to go backwards now. And what I'm going to do is, you have ray interactors here, and I'm going to grab this. And notice how normally it would just kind of fall, but I'm going to put it there, and it snaps. And you can see it took that away. And now I can walk into the room. Okay, so you can see how, you can use this to kind of create some interesting kind of effects like this.